I don't know if you remember this, but when we first had the conversation, I did touch you on your elbow when I wanted to say, can we have a conversation about that?
Cute.
Uh-oh. So there goes the whole argument.
The whole argument.
So if I was a homeless person and I did that, you'd be like, ah, like running away from me, right?
Alright guys, y'all looking at the thumbnail, y'all looking at the title of the video, y'all already know what time it is. It is time to get active. Guys, I am so excited to review this video with you here today. Hopefully you've seen it already and you coming over here for the after party. This is the first time I've had the opportunity to review myself. So this is like commentary or reaction inception. But the benefit of me doing this, outside of all the other creators that have been doing it as well, is that I was actually there. So I was actually there. I could give you guys kind of the behind the scenes of what was happening, what I was thinking, what was going on, what happened before and after. And we can go in depth. But this is a great day. This is a great day for the entire space because it shows that when we get together, we're stronger than we are apart. Without further ado.
All right, guys, you're looking at the thumbnail. Y'all looking at the title of the video. Y'all already know what time it is. It is time to get active.
Come
Y'all
on.
here on the streets of Vegas, getting it popping, asking the questions and getting the answers that you guys want to see. You understand me? Kevin, what's up?
What's going on? What's going on? What is going on, man? Nieces and nephews, kinfolks and cousins, we out here in Las Vegas. I'm on the hunt for the elusive Shirley and Karen Maximus. Have not found them yet. Oh, looks like a potential candidate. She might need to buy a dog or die alone. Next.
Without further ado.
Now, listen, before we get into the rest of the reaction, that was not scripted. Okay, that was not scripted at all. So this portion of the recordings was actually day 2. We only recorded 2 days out there. We were there for a couple of extra days, but those other days, the weather was terrible in Vegas, right? It was like 40 degrees. It was like less than 40 degrees for like 3 of the nights, and it was super windy. I have so much more respect now for street interviewers than I ever had before. It is not easy to get out there because you're at the whim of the public. You're at the whim of Mother Nature. And if the public or if Mother Nature are not cooperating, well, guess what? You don't get footage. So there was a couple of days there we couldn't even go out and take footage. But then It's Complicated said, I'm going to call him IC from now on. Hey, let's do an intro real quick. So we flipped on the camera. And Kevin was a little bit down the way, so I started talking. He just came into the picture and took over the mic, and we went back and forth. Amazing timing. And real quick, too, before we get started within this, I know I touched it on a little bit to a degree in the intro, but this is history in the making, right? And I'm not saying this because, I'm over here just trying to toot my own horn, but what other forms of content have we seen in present day when there's a collaboration, not in the confines of a studio, but actually doing it in the real world, in real time? It takes away a lot of these arguments that, this portion of the internet is just these angry incel dudes that don't get out, right? They're not cool. They've never been cool. Women never wanted them. Is it all of those things, or are we speaking from a perspective of actually having a point? And if you don't believe so, let's put some of these ideologies out in front of real people in the real world and see what happens. Anyway, you guys probably like, shut up. Let's get to the video. Let's get in there.
Why is it that a woman's love is more likely something that needs to be earned through courtship than a man's love?
Because women desire more things than men, I think. As in, like, love and affection. And men are like, let's get some...
Schizo?
Let's get some!
Schizophrenic?
No, let's get some.
Oh, let's get some.
Yeah.
It's complicated. What about you?
I wasn't trying to be funny there, by the way. I really thought she said schizo.
That women just like desire respect more than men do.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
So you don't think that men don't want to be respected by their lady in a relationship?
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. You just don't have to earn it. You just have to act it all the time. Like,
So I guess the question is through courtship, why is it that women expect so much, and that's kind of the standard? Why is it not as even for men to expect as much from a woman?
Now, if you notice what I did there, IC asked that question in his own way, but when you started to have them answer that, they went in a completely different direction. And this shows the teamwork that we had, even on day 2, right? That he would say something, I would see that they would go somewhere else, and I would try to get them back to the original point, to dive further, because what he set up are always fantastic questions. Let's keep going.
Well, look at society. Society is always more for the woman, you know, like the homemaker.
Yeah.
She's the one giving you children. She's the one who's cleaning your house. She's the one who's doing your laundry. From back in the day. So you take those values that we've like learned about as little kids from our grandparents, and then you see them now, and you're like, men aren't the same these days. No, it's a different society.
And just real quick, so she said the society is more for women. And I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but then one of the other questions that I ask is, so does a patriarchy still exist? So how is the society more for women, but you're postulating that a patriarchy exists today? But I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. Let's get back in there.
So we're going to talk back in the day. I think also back in the day, men were sacrificed in war. So why is it not seen as an equal, if not greater, contribution?
Good point.
I think because society views women as weak, and so that's why they weren't drafted.
Do you guys believe in that a patriarchy still exists in
Good
America?
follow-up, MTR.
Yeah, I would say probably.
Uh-oh! What's up?
that's a hard one.
So let me, can I ask a follow-up to that? And then, so if you believe that a patriarchy still exists in America, you think that men are actively oppressing women in our society today?
I think it depends on the man, and it depends on how they grew up with the type of family, because we are kind of getting out of that type of society. But I mean, it takes time.
So if we say that it depends on the man, can't one assume that it's not a system put in place that we still live by today that is oppressing women? Because you're saying that there's maybe some men with some patriarchal type of views.
Logic.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that disprove the original thing that you said?
Come on.
I suppose, yeah. Here and there. We said here and there.
Uh-oh.
I got a question.
Wait. Before Kevin gets in there, okay? let me also say this as well. Shout out to these young ladies. They were a pleasure to talk to. It wasn't really much conversation before we got right into the reaction, but you could tell that, you know, they probably came from suburbia, middle America, and they're not completely gone. I actually think, like, if we wasn't working and we had met them out at like a bar, we were all sitting down, I wouldn't mind just sitting down and just talking to them for a little bit. Even though our ideologies are not the same, the things that we believe in, they seem like they were just open to conversation, and it never got heated. There were some conversations that I had that I don't even know if they're gonna make the YouTube pages. That was like, it got kind of like, oh shit, is this person gonna try to slap me? You know what I'm saying? But that's neither here nor there. But also too, so when we started this conversation, Kevin wasn't around. He said, I have to go get coffee, right? Because me and IC were recording. This is probably like the second or the third interview that we had on day 2 on this day. Kevin said he went to go get coffee. So as I'm talking to them, Kevin walks up and then he starts listening, right? So he was behind IC. So then when Kevin heard this, that's when he came into the frame. So this wasn't planned either, that he was going to come in at any given time. He was just listening to key words. Let's keep going.
So if we dismantle the patriarchy, who's going to build the world?
Women and men. Women engineers, if like.
I'm an engineer.
Okay.
What percentage of women are in engineering school, would you think?
Oh, I bet you it's less than 20, probably maybe even less than 10.
Yeah.
So, and then if you look at the infrastructure, power, transportation, which women are all capable of doing, but do women want to do those jobs?
Right.
Depends on the woman.
No, it doesn't.
Women are free to choose to do them. So by the numbers, it's fair to say women have chosen that they don't want to.
Right.
I mean, who wouldn't want to stay at home and look pretty all day?
That's the patriarchy.
Exactly.
It is. It really is.
There are
It's so crazy. You know, you think about the phrase when it benefits them. And so there is a negative thought when you say the word patriarchy, but also you say, well, who wouldn't want to stay? Well, you being able to stay home is the patriarchy. Who wouldn't want to do this? So what you're saying is that you benefit from the patriarchy, that you benefit that if that option exists, you benefit from that. But oftentimes that word patriarchy has such a negative stereotype and connotation that modern women today don't even consider the particular benefits of it. But shout out to Kevin as well. So let me also say this. This is the first time that Kevin and I actually met in person. And just sitting down and talking to that brother, and there's a lot of people that follow him, that watch him on his content. I don't think that you guys really have an understanding of how intelligent that he is. He's brilliant. He's on another level. Like, and I've been around a lot of smart people in my life, but just think about the difficulty of walking into a conversation, not hearing most of the conversation, and then putting in a point that within the first line gets the interviewees confused how to answer it because it presents an illogical conundrum. That takes a degree of intellectual horsepower that many on this planet do not have. But anyway, I'm digressing again. Let's get back into the reaction.
There are men that do it. There are men that are stay-at-home dads. Yeah.
Probability and possibility, there's a difference between the anecdotal than the norm. So if we dismantle the patriarchy that gave you beautiful Las Vegas and all these buildings, what are women going to do to replace or make the new Las Vegas?
How would they?
Okay, but as in 30 years ago, were women allowed to do that? Probably.
Yes.
Well, maybe they were, but like, was it normal for that? No. And
Women
it's
have
still.
chosen- women have chosen
It's choice.
professions that are more people-based, humanities and things like this. But you take the good with the bad. That's what I'm saying. If we want to dismantle the patriarchy, all for it. But then women have to be frontline on the military. You know, you can't just want the CEO jobs. You also got to dig the ditches. And do you think the average woman wants to do the dirty, ugly jobs?
I do not. I don't.
So for the patriarchy.
No, I'm not. I'm more of a business person. I'm not gonna go out and. I mean, I'm an insurance agent, so.
What I'm saying, if the patriarchy has made the economy that makes it such that you can be a business person.
Yeah.
Yes, but
that
do
a
I
good
want to
thing?
work construction? No. Do I want to be drafted? No.
So you want men to continue to do those jobs?
Yeah.
Difference, because I'm completely opposite of her, and I would totally do it. I would be on the front lines. I would do like the hard work.
But
Would you be on the front lines if they didn't have special requirements for women? Meaning you had to do the same. Okay.
so if the military didn't change the standards for women, you would still want to do it?
Yes.
So there could be an argument there that you wouldn't even meet the standards for that, right? Like, let's say in the military there's like a 30 pull-up requirement. How much is it?
200-pound deadlift and a 75-pound pack. So most women have been able to do the 200-pound deadlift, but they didn't have the 75-pound pack. Plus, we've changed those standards to accommodate women. And do we get a more military-ready machine that way? Do you think Russia? Do you think China? Do you think they'd fear a group of men or a group of well-trained women?
I think they fear a group of well-trained soldiers.
Bullshit.
It doesn't matter, men or women. They are. It does.
And listen, at this point, I'm thinking to myself, I want to call bullshit so bad, but the verbal judo that Kevin is inflicting on them, I'm just like, just let the brother rock. Just let the brother ride, because he knows what he's doing. But when faced with objective reality, they still fight against that. Anyway, let's keep going.
And that's one thing I don't understand. Why women just resist understanding that This is why you don't see, in Las Vegas, when you go out, you don't see a group of well-trained female bouncers.
Facts.
Because where I'm from, I do see a couple well-trained.
Is that the norm or is that the outlier?
Good follow-up.
I mean, it looks pretty normal to me.
Bullshit.
Why? And my question is, this is an honest question. Why does that, the realities that we can see, why does that seem to confound or upset or frustrate women so much?
It doesn't necessarily frustrate me, or like, I can't speak for all women, but all I'm saying is that I would do it. I would go ahead and, test my limits and, give you a run for your money.
I want to set up a quick question for you guys, and I want to take a look at your answers. So
The reason why I try to transition like this is because in an effort to prove herself correct, she would not relinquish the point that she would actually do it. And that's really what this conversation is about. When they talk about down with the patriarchy, it's not that you actually want to do it. It's that you want to be told that you can't do it. But her saying things such as, I'll give you a run for your money. No, you won't. Just in this shot right here, look at the difference between the size of me and the size of this young girl. If there were 5 of these young girls in a room and it was me, and you gave these young women some type of object to hurt me, I would still wipe the floor with each and every one of them and would have barely broken a sweat at the end of it. Let's keep going.
Let's say that you were hanging off the edge of a cliff, and you were blindfolded, and you were going to drop off that cliff, and you know that there's a man on the left side that will pull you up, or a woman on the right side that would pull you up, and you had to choose one or the other. You cannot choose both. Who would you choose to help pull you up?
Instinctively. It depends on what hand went up.
No, I'm saying, who would you choose, the man or the woman, to help pull you up? And your life depended on it. Without knowing their body sizes and compositions.
No, I guess the man, yeah.
The man.
Other hand went up and it was the woman. I mean,
You might die.
that's okay.
Right.
You might plummet to your death.
See, the thing is right there, I was not going to let that point go. And I appreciate, this is the teamwork, right? This is the teamwork at play. Because IC could have came in right there and said something. Kevin could have came in right there and said something. But they said, oh, get him MTR, right? Silently. All right? Silently. We were communicating telepathically. All right? Get him MTR, right? And I got him, right? And I refused to let go of that point. That's why I kept.
Ask the question is, although it was you have to make a choice, the man or the woman, and that's what tends to confound women, because when asked a simple question that we all know the answer to, it's like, well, I'm going to find a way to split the difference, or find a way to not say man. Why do y'all go through that mental gymnastics when you know you're going to reach for the man, the person is going to give you the best chance to survive, which happens to be the man?
Society tells you men are stronger. If you look at...
Is that society or data?
No. Society doesn't tell me. Observable reality tells you that.
Thanks, Kevin. Saying observable reality made a lot more sense than data. So I appreciate that follow-up. Because data is kind of like, wait, what? But in my mind, I'm just like the numbers, right? But of saying observable reality makes it a lot more clear. That's what I was thinking at the time.
I suppose, but even how you were talking about military standards, they're higher for men because men, I think, are more capable of yes.
My hand strength is 17 times more than yours. I can lift stuff. You guys are smaller.
Up the cliff.
No, I'm actually going to push you to the back, and I'm going to go fight.
Uh-oh.
Because servicing the soldiers, helping the soldiers, and we're going to go win the war.
Women are more nourished, like, what is...
Nurturing?
Yeah, nurturing.
Nurturing Marines.
Right.
I would have the opposite opinion as her. Nope, I'm not doing it.
My point is, we're to the point to where we're sitting back trying to say, well, women can do this too, and it's not as though you can, is should you?
Right.
What country in the world mobilizes its women and girls to go fight an army of men because of equality?
That's true, but all that matters is that the women who do want to do it have a choice to do it.
They have a choice, but they can't. They can't meet the standards. Okay, the best MMA woman is not going to beat the worst MMA man.
That's a fact.
I agree.
There we go. So if it's about protecting your home and everything else, you're not going to say, well, let's give women a shot. You're going to say, no, we can have that after you beat those people. We want to live.
Right.
And see, that's the beautiful thing about this bad old patriarchy.
Gotta let them cook.
It gives you all this stuff, and it gives you the ability to choose. You know one thing? Feminism is a first world option.
Bars.
You don't have these options in third world country. Survival is paramount. And that's all these conversations are about. And men accept those things. It's just funny to me. It's funny to us men that so many women know the truth, but you just like, it sticks in your throat. It's almost like women are living opposite of reality, and you just want to have the choice to be able to do it. Is that what we're hearing?
He nailed it right there. It's just the choice and the option to be able to do it. They just don't want to be told that they cannot do it, right? And they want the requirements shifted so that they can be able to do it, right? Although, I mean, we talked about it before. Are you scared of a military of all women or all men? Which one would you rather prefer? I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. And then shout out to what's going on the other side of this planet, right? The Russia-Ukraine situation. But when shit hits the fan, who's the one staying behind and actually fighting, right? It's not the feminists. They're fleeing the country in droves. It's the men that stay by and fight. So it's like what's Kevin saying, it's a first world issue. This is a first world problem. And it's also a problem when shit hasn't hit the fan yet. So you can argue and complain about all this shit, but when the shit actually goes down, who is it that you want on the front line? Let's come on.
Choice? Is that what matters more, the choice?
I don't want to do it. I don't want to be in the front.
She don't want that choice.
No.
Is this all new information for you guys?
She's rethinking that point.
It's kind of like a new perspective, I guess, because I don't really look into it like that. I just see people as like people.
Yeah.
All equal.
So she's gotten a lot of feminist programs at the college institution or the workplace that she's at. She's fed into the sauce, which is why these public conversations are so impactful and important. Because some of the arguments is, well, you know, you cherry pick videos from all across that. No, we're out on the street. What's up? We're out on the street having these conversations. But you can see right here, the indecision in the way that she carried herself or her thoughts within that conversation is beginning to switch a little bit because of the reality that's being said.
And so what do you think are the contributing factors that have led to kind of thinking that from a physical perspective, we are more equal than we are different between men and women?
Like, okay.
Did we even ask that question? Are we equal? Say that again. Are we equal? Men and women equal?
Physically?
Period.
I think that physically men would be stronger, but I think mentally, I think that they could be pretty equal. Just because, I mean, I was a chick in STEM for all of high school, and so when you go to robotics competitions that are international, you see that each team has less than probably 20% as women. I was on a team of 40 people, and there's less than 10.
It's not because from a biological standpoint that we're that much different. It's because women choose different.
Yes.
Well, can I ask a question? Why are women offended at the general idea that men are better or more capable than them when they typically choose to date superior men?
Because no one wants to lose.
Uh-oh.
No one wants to be the underdog.
You
And
don't want to lose in war either.
yeah, okay.
Now you want to lose the conversation.
We're not losing a fight.
It's just like the word better. Like, why is that a thing? Like, a man is,
Well,
a man
I- well-
is better than me at what?
Second place is the first loser. I'm better. It's better. We were better. You're not in Boise, Idaho right now, because Las Vegas is better. You have Hard Rock on. You don't have on TGNY, because it's better.
Yeah.
Why do we accept better everywhere else between us? And here's the thing, we accept that.
Except
but it's
for
like
gender.
women today almost don't want to hear the fact that there's a hierarchy and there's winners and losers. But y'all do it. You look nice because you get better results.
Facts.
All those things are
Mic
accurate
drop.
and true.
So what I heard is I look nice.
Because you chose.
That's what you call yielding in a conversation, right? It's just an easy way to get out, but they acknowledge the point. Let's keep going.
Like women don't like. A lot of women don't want to be objectified, especially in corporate America. But then they send women to go in and put on their makeup, look great, high heels, this, and I'm like, well, then what is this stuff doing? It's simulating a more sensual look. It's almost like you want to penalize men for being men, but you want women to be free to be whoever.
So because somebody puts makeup on and does their hair, that means that they're being more sexual as a person?
What does red lips indicate?
It looks great with my skin tone, and I plump
Yeah,
them
but
up.
why
What
does it look
red
great?
lips and blush indicate to the human psyche, the male psyche?
It's such a great statement because why do you think red looks good? And the thing is that the red lipstick is irrespective of your race or like the melanation within your skin. So why do you think that is? Well, there's an evolutionary reason as to why red looks more attractive. So it's interesting that you have those that are fed into the cycle, really don't understand, but they still utilize it because it works, because of the results that they get. Let's keep on.
I'm not sure I'm not a man, but
Sexual flush. Sexual flush. That's why I'm an image consultant in real life. This is why red is associated with sexuality, because in the heat, when you get excited, sexual flush, blood rushes to your lips here. That's why. You may think it looks great, and it looks great to us in a different way. It's sexual.
So what if you're doing business with a woman and you look sexual? What does that do for anybody?
What is a lot of men today that choose to kind of opt out of alone time conversations with women in the corporate environment because of how it can be misconstrued?
I'll take that. What if you're doing business with a woman and it's what? Sexual?
You look presentable as in a sexual way. How does that benefit anybody if you're working with among women?
Presentable in a sexual way. Just think about that for a quick second.
Women leverage their looks to their advantage, as you should. Women leverage our power and our status to our advantage, as we should. On my way up here, I had 2 showgirls slap me on my ass and tell me, "Ooh, looking good." If I did that, I'd be in handcuffs. I got it on camera, by the way, guys. See, it's okay. It's one thing. I don't begrudge women looking good. I come from sales. You don't really see unattractive salespeople because they don't sell products. You don't see slovenly, overweight, unattractive salespeople. People put women out there, especially, and women know this.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to accept that double standard because it benefits your career and your finances, you take it also what comes with it. You can't say, "Look at me and how nice I look." Then if a guy hits on you, it's toxic masculinity.
Right.
Which one is? You can't have both.
Right. When that was your goal to begin with, because you know that it increases your results. This is why so many organizations have a strict dress code policy.
You gotta choose.
I think there's a time and a place to hit on somebody. And if we're talking about workplace, if a lady looks nice, that's not an innuendo to be like, "Hey,
30%
let me
of married
flirt."
couples meet at work.
Boom.
So that's bullshit. The time and the place is when women say it's okay for them, but it's always wrong for us.
Do you think it's true women often find attractive men cute and romantic when an ugly one doing the exact same thing is creepy?
Personally, I mean, if it looks like maybe...
What's the difference between a catcall and a compliment?
Huge respect.
Well, I mean,
Well, how do you define respect when approaching a woman?
The difference between a catcall and a compliment is whether they think you're hot enough.
Well, it could be the manner on how somebody does it. Like, if you were to walk up to me like, "Hey, you look really nice today. I like your red lipstick." Or
No, but if that's a homeless person that says that, are you going to take it the same way?
yeah, probably. There's no difference between a...
Corporate America, the difference between sexual harassment and an accepted advance is just whether or not the woman likes you.
I suppose, but to the question that you asked, it is, are you being respectful when you do it? So if a homeless man came up to me and that he was like, grab her by the... I don't think you can say that on there, but yeah, if you say that, probably I'd be like, get away from me. But if he was like, "Wow, you look really nice today," or "You look nice, ma'am," something like that.
Understand that respect is subjective. What you may consider respect, I may consider to be, you may consider one standard respectful and another. The women who hit me on my butt, they thought they were being playful. But if I were to do the same thing, we know in the society we live in, that would be not to be tolerated. See, it's the double standards that the patriarchy allows women. You get to make the rules that suit you when you want to, and men are just saying, look at the hypocrisy of it all.
Yeah.
And I think that's what this conversation proves. Men have to approach you the right way, and it has to be respectful. But you don't have an LED readout on your head that tells us those instructions. We just got to go shoot our shot, and if it goes wrong, then what? Then men have
And that's why I asked, well, how do you define respect? Because it is subjective.
a problem on their hands. When a woman does that, no real consequence.
Right.
That's a very true double standard.
Boom, mic drop. Let me ask you guys a quick question as well. Do you think that pretty privilege exists in our society? And if so, what are the pros and the cons of it?
I do think they exist. I used to be super, super fat and didn't wear any makeup, which I don't think makeup makes you look pretty. But I saw in my life a 70-pound weight change, and people treat me 100% different.
Yeah, of course.
To the opposite side of that, I've actually been like this weight my whole life, and what comes with pretty privilege is a lot of jealousy and hatred. So with that,
You know, I find so interesting that they say that makeup doesn't make you pretty, but it obviously gets you better results. It actually makes you look different because they both do have makeup on. Like I've actually noticed the young lady on the right, her hand color is a lot different than her face color, right? So there's a significant amount of makeup on as well. So it's like, well, if it doesn't do what makeup is intended to, paint your face, right, and change your appearance, then I guess why is it that you need it or utilize it?
that you just have to, I don't know, I'd say just consider yourself just a human.
So why do you think there's so much talk in our society about things like male privilege and white privilege, but we don't talk about beauty privilege?
I'm in sales, and people tell me all the time that I'm the best in the company that I used to work for because I had pretty privilege. And it's not. It's treating them like a human being and doing your job right and taking into consideration what they're saying and actively listening to them. And so people can assume that you have pretty privilege, but do you do the same things that I do? And do you talk to people the same way I talk to people? No, probably not.
I want to ask a question also about compliments also. If you receive a compliment from a man and a woman, does it have different meaning to you if it's the exact same compliment?
Yes.
So isn't there a double standard there as well?
Women are better because they're most likely trying not to sleep with you. They're just genuinely enjoying
so if a
what you
man's
have.
trying to sleep with you, why is that often seen as having the wrong intention?
It's not. It doesn't mean it's the wrong intention, but if you say it in a, I don't know how, in a like gross way,
Well, once again, haven't we established that a guy can do the exact same thing, and it's, if a guy is attractive, then it's a compliment, and if he's unattractive, then it's harassment?
No. We actually proved that, or said that that wouldn't be a thing. It would just depend on the way you came up to me.
So if a homeless guy hit on you, it would have the same meaning as if, a guy who was a rock star, celebrity, high status man would?
Yeah, you take the compliment the same way. Maybe the reaction wouldn't be would be different. Like say if it's a homeless person.
So I'm gonna challenge that because I think it's sort of bullshit. So like, let's say I was walking by you, and I said, "Listen, you look absolutely beautiful today," and I put my hand on your shoulder in order to establish contact. Versus if I did that, versus if someone who you find extremely unattractive did the exact same thing and put his hand on your shoulder in Vegas. You don't think that you would take the way that I did that differently than the way someone that you find unattractive or a homeless person would?
We were actually just talking about this on how you shouldn't be touching anyone. We literally just had this exact conversation that because people are like, have a nice day, don't touch me. It doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter. Obviously, yes, it would be, like to answer the question, it would be more memorable if it was a homeless person because there's other things that come with that image and maybe some other mental things. Like you don't know what they're going through.
So this is a extremely pivotal part of the conversation because we talked before about pretty privilege and then also to how to approach somebody. So what she is saying is that you shouldn't be touching anybody, right? So this is going to dovetail into what's going to happen here in a couple of seconds. But what's going on in my mind is how do I construct a way to show that what she's saying is bullshit if you throw in the one variable that we said earlier was if you're attracted to that person. If you're attracted to that person, them coming up to you and having physical contact or what have you, or the level of respect in the words that they're saying is ridiculously subjective in nature if you are attracted to them. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, how do I position this in a way where they get it? Let's keep going. Here comes the trap card.
So I don't know if you remember this, but when we first had the conversation, I did touch you on your elbow when I wanted to say, can we have a conversation about that? Uh-oh. So there goes the whole argument.
The whole argument.
So if I was a homeless person and I did that, you'd be like, oh, like running away from me, right? So can we call BS on some of the arguments that you guys placed forward as to say that you wouldn't treat it differently if it wasn't me versus a homeless person?
You didn't touch
But
me.
I did touch her.
You definitely didn't touch
Break
me
the
or
touch barrier.
something.
Would it say something?
Yes, I don't like that.
So I just chose correctly?
I guess so. 'Cause
All right, hey guys.
All right, guys, that's the end of the conversation right there. This other conversation, guys, let me know down below if you want me to go over this conversation as well. Okay?
I mean, like women just
Maybe I'll just do it for the culture, but I don't know. I don't want to be too redundant on reacting to my own stuff. Let me get this out of here. Listen, it's so crazy that we had to go all around that to finally hone in on calling out the pure and utter bullshit. She said that it was okay because you're cute. So there it is right there. Okay. We figured it out, right? We got the truth out eventually. All right, guys. I know this was a long video, but hopefully you still are here. Hopefully you enjoy yourself here today and going through kind of some of the things that I was thinking as this was all happening. Also, towards the end as well, the reason why Kevin wasn't chiming in, because Kevin actually walked away. Okay, I know you couldn't see that on camera. So he walked away, so it was just us kind of noodling about. So with that being said, guys, as I said earlier, this is very important. It's very important that we got it right. It was very important that we did it in a way that wasn't drama-filled. It's very important that we could communicate to real people on the real street about real things, to get their real opinions and have these live conversations, right? And to condense it in a way in pre-recorded format for people to consume. It shows, again, the power of strength and in numbers and in working together and collaboration. Shout out again to It's Complicated. Shout out again to Kevin Samuels. I think that we should do it again. What do you guys think? Questions, comments, concerns? Y'all already know what to do. Mediocre tutorials and reviews at gmail.com. Also, as well, as you guys probably already have guessed, there's actually a lot of footage. These are just the ones that we just released in the first clip, in the first video. There's some things that like I see may not feel comfortable in releasing, but maybe I'll just go back and review it. I think I'm actually gonna go down into my Patreon and review some of the content to have them see it and have them pick out what some of the things that I should bring onto the channel. Maybe not. Maybe I'll just do it just for the Patreon members. I haven't decided quite yet. But truth be told, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but it was all worth it. Until next time, YouTube, peace.